Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have 3 Christmas cards to share with you using my favorite mini slimline die from Crafty Meraki, the Barnon mini slimline die. I am going to create however one slimline card, and I will use those bars that I have die cut with that mini slimline onto 2 other A2 sized cards as well. Now, concerning this incredible color combination, all of these cardstocks are from Concord and Ninth, and this combination is actually inspired by Carissa Wiley. Maybe you know her as Sprinkled with Glitter. She's incredible. She creates tons of cards with Ellen Hudson, with Pink Fresh Studio, with Concord and Ninth, and I love all of her videos. She creates other cards than me, I would say, but like her color combination is always spot on. She always thinks outside of the box. I'm mostly using like either a rainbow or I'm in one color family, but she's like combining and creating new kind of rainbows like this one. I love a Christmas rainbow, as we know from Laura Besson, but this one screamed for me Christmas, and it's completely different from what I'm used of for Christmas rainbowy kind of color combinations, and I was so surprised by it. I truly loved it, and finally I got to create some cards with this same color scheme as she did. So as you could see, I already inlaid everything on the mini slimline, which is quite easy if you have die cut these strips. Or you have die cut the mini slimline, you have tons of strips. If you use multiple colors like I'm doing here, you only need to die cut every color once and you have tons of stripes ready to go to adhere. And then my other 2 A2 sized cards that I am now kind of creating my backgrounds for is actually a way that I used the bars in the past to use up my leftovers. It's a really fun way. I am trying to sort of change every line, like how far I'm going inwards in my panel with the colors. I don't want to have exactly the same width next to each other, so I'm sort of changing in that way. Really fun, and I think in the past I always use it in kind of the area that I'm doing right now, the longest side of an A2 sized panel. So that's why I'm creating a third card as well, where I am actually using like the smallest side and adding the stripes on that one. Now also, because in the past whenever I use it, I sort of added my critters on top of the bars, or sort of zigzagging in the bars. I didn't want to do exactly the same because I just want to show you all of the potential. So for my later on vertical card, where I have the stripes on the smallest area, I am just going for clean and simple in the way that we have tons of white and our images will be there, and then I'm just finishing it off on the top with all of these stripes. You will see it's tons of fun. You don't need to, because I will also show you how it could easily have been a different card by just adding the critters on top of the bars as I originally intended. So really it's a ton of fun. And I know that normally in my videos I'm always saying I don't plan my cards ahead, except maybe a color combination like this one. I was making sure that I had all of the colors already die cut, because it's really simple this way. Of course you can trim your stripes yourself, you can change in the sizes of them, the width of them, but I truly love the fact that the Barnon mini slimline die creates all of these stripes. Also, it might be that you have the Barnon slimline die from Crafty Meraki, which is my favorite slimline die, must admit. It's exactly the same size of bars. So just in case. But I really love mini slimline. Once I created a slimline like in the past, I was just sold. I didn't want to go there. I remember it very clearly. I first didn't want to go Slimline because I knew that I had to have new card bases, a whole new world would open where I wanted to have all the Slimline dies. And I had the same thing with mini Slimline. And then of course I got to play with some Crafty Meraki mini Slimline dies and sold. I never went back. So yeah, so as I said here, I'm just making sure that I'm covering the smallest side of my panel with these stripes. Again, the same order. I love this combination. Truly, Carissa Wiley, she's amazing. So I'm just making sure that I'm adding every bar next to the previous one. I'm just using some liquid glue to adhere it. You can use any adhesive that you want. If you want to have all the same width, which is perfectly an option. I didn't do that today. I could have made 4 cards considering that. You can definitely do the same width every time, or just create first your rainbow on another panel and then play with that panel, add it to your card panels. Anything is possible. And then it was time to figure out what I was going to do with my backgrounds. I took the Snow Play stamp set from Hello Bluebird, which is an older one, but I'm also trying to give a bit of attention to my older sets, so this is another attempt. And as you can see here, the middle panel, I first wanted to add the critters on top of the bars and just let them rest or sit on those, but I will turn this panel around and I will use the same sort of layout of these 2 critters and change that up. I also wanted to show here that it was perfectly an option to add those 2 critters to the other panel as well. Anything goes truly, and it's tons of fun to create with. I also wanted to show you with these cards that it's really easy to just take a few critters from a stamp set to keep it clean and simple. If you love clean and simple, you can take a few, and maybe with just one stamp set, as I'm doing here, you can create 3 cards. I will use a sentiment from another stamp set, but just forget about that. So on my right card, I'm going to use the penguins, and then the other 2 have reindeers, and then the mouse or the bird. And as you can see here, I just turned the panel around, and you can definitely use it on the top as well. So that's what I'm going to do today. Really simple and tons of fun. So here I sort of took the sentiments that I loved the most, but then for the penguins I wanted the sentiment to be in the bars, and so I needed that sentiment from the left panel on my right panel, and just to do some easy stamping and being able to create these cards quite quickly, I decided to take the sentiment and then search for another sentiment that would go with my 2 critters on the left panel that I have prepped. So therefore I took the first snow stamp set from Hello Bluebird in the end to stamp it out there. There were other sentiments that were really fun with lovely scripts in the stamp set itself, but it just wasn't working for me size-wise or layout-wise on my card itself. And then I found this sentiment in the first snow, and I thought layout-wise it was just balanced out as I wanted it to be. So for this card, I decided to go for a 1-layered card concerning the images and the sentiments. I could have colored the images, die cut it, and add it to the panel as well. But as I said, I just want to show you all of the potential. If you don't have the dies here, you can definitely do a 1-layered card if you use those bars as decoration on top on the side of your card. The other critters I stamped out on another piece of Transotype Perfect Coloring Paper. I used My Favorite Things ink Extreme Black, which is a great one. I used Gina K Designs Amalgam Ink Obsidian before, which was also wonderful. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll try another black ink that is recommended by tons of people and see what that gives me. And I'm also really happy with the extreme black ink. So on this card I am embossing the sentiment with white on one of the darker colors of the combination that we have here, and then the other card I have stamped the sentiment in black. I'm going to color the critters separately, die cut, and add it later on. So I have all my panels prepped, I have everything stamped out, and now we will start on the coloring. For the coloring of the deer, I will not repeat myself, or, well, I did, but I'm not showing it. Just color-wise, I'm creating clean and simple cards, so I'm using that as an excuse as well to reuse combinations because I love doing that. So I had just one mouse, so that's one combination, but I mean the deer, they have the same combination. The penguins have the same combination, so I'm showing it once. References towards the combinations that I'm using, you can find them on my blog post as always, and there is a link towards my blog post down below in the description box. Also the link towards the video from Carissa Wiley will be there as well, and on my blog post. So when it came to the colors, I wanted to have really soft deers, and then I wanted to just change it up a bit. With the mouse I went for a grayish color. The bird was a bit of an issue. I have issues with birds. I don't know why. I love seeing all the colors from the rainbow. I love seeing just brown birds. I went here for like a greenish, bluish, grayish color, which was a bit strange, but it works I think in the end. But I was really insecure about it. I just don't know what it is. It's every time that I need to color a bird, and they are so adorable, so you want to use them. But for me, it's really a struggle to find that right color and to not overdo it, sort of. I don't know why or how. Because there is tons of inspiration, and I definitely look around and see the potential with all of like the blues and the pinks and the red and everything. But I find it really hard. But yeah, I went for that, and then all of the accessories, I sort of tried to find a combination that also matched with the color combination that we have going on in the cardstock. And I'm quite happy with how that turned out. It's also, again, reusing combinations in markers, but also in colors when it comes to cardstock markers, everything. I find that really a way to keep it clean and simple. So I know that here there is a lot of white, but you can also see the rainbow color kind of thingy that is going on, and it's really bright as well, the cards. So in case you're scared of white on your card, I get it. I once was there, and now I'm just every time amazed with the strength of white on your clean and simple cards. Truly, it's a strength. So I wanted to show you these cards. I have some more ideas that I want to work out, and hopefully I can share some more inspiration with white on your clean and simple cards. I know that tons of you struggle with it, and it's so logical. It's really scary. But you need to create a few cards with white and with tons of white on your background, and I'll know that you will get convinced at a certain point. Doesn't mean that we cannot do a completely ink blended background, because that's beautiful as well, and I love doing that from time to time as well. But I know myself, and I know that I create more whitish kind of cards. So I hope to inspire you by these cards and to convince you at a certain point, not necessarily after today, but at one point I will convince you that it's perfectly fine to keep things white. It's all about balance. And maybe it's just a bit of embellishments that you first need to add to convince yourself that white is fine. Maybe you need a background stamp in a soft color to convince you that is just fine, there is enough going on. There are steps to go to white, but I will leave it with that. So here I'm just adding the accessories or coloring the accessories. For the penguins, I sort of try to match the accessory with like the bar where it was standing on, or where it was nearby the accessory. You will see that later on. It will make more sense later on. So I'm just working my way through my combinations, going from darkest to lightest as always. You do you, of course. If you prefer going from lightest to darkest and working your way through it like that, it's perfectly fine. You do you. So having here my accessories kind of in the colors where it's going was actually the reason why I tried the specific color on the bird. So that's just the only logic that I had at this point. And yeah, let me know what you think about the bird, because it's a bit of a strange color and it wasn't really easy to get it to work kind of in the combination way. But yeah. So the thing was that with the combination, the G combination that I truly adore, I just found it a bit too bright, so I went with the W2. Thanks to Nicky Meek, it's an option to just add a bit of gray if you want to just mute it a bit more, to not have it as bright as it was originally. Yeah, I really needed to add the bird to the card to be convinced about it, you know. So here it's on that greenish kind of color, and it's lighter, it's more of the color above, but it's still darker because of the W. Don't know how to explain it, but I was fine with it. So here for the penguins as well, I didn't want any of them be on the same line, so I sort of made an irregular triangle there to help me with design-wise what I like. And then I used thin foam squares to add all of the critters that were die cut on top of every panel. So I'm adding each of the critters on top, sort of where I originally intended them to be, and I hope that here you can see that the penguins, sort of the accessories, as I said, are sort of aligned with the bar where the accessory is kind of nearby. You know, the pink, then the blue, then the green. Well, it was the intention at least. And then for the center kind of panel here, the thing is that you can leave it as is. I'm going to add a bit of shadowing, however, just to give it a bit. You can also, if you don't want to do these kind of shadowing thingies with your markers, if it's a bit daunting, because I get it, I still find it daunting, you can also just mask off with purple tape or any tape or post-it tape or things like that. You can mask off the ground area and just do soft ink blending. Make sure to maybe mask off the feet if you don't want to cross over there, but there are multiple ways to create a bit of grounding on that panel as well without having to use your markers. Now I'm adhering my two A2 size panels on top of card bases. I had to trim off a bit of excess because of course I cannot trim myself an A2 size panel without having slivers remaining too much, too little. Every time the same issues. And then I had my 3 cards, really simple, but I wanted to add a bit of embellishment as well. Now I first only wanted to add it to actually the left card because there I have snowflake kisses, and I thought I can use that sentiment, but maybe I have to add something later on. So I wanted to add my snowflakes here on top of the left one, but I started with the centered one, and I realized that actually I could add the same embellishments on all three of the cards. So I did that. I fiddled a bit with placement, but in the end every card got a few of these snowdrift sprinkles from little things from Lucy's cards. So really fun. I also, well, on my second card here, where I'm currently fiddling like in the center, there it's white on white, but you can still see it. It's higher up. There is tons of dimension in these sprinkles. On my left card, there it was mostly on white, but as you can see, the moment you add it to a stripe, as on the right card, it really pops. So I loved it on this card here, just because it really jumps off all of the colors. With the others, it's really great as well, but I mean, is there something more popping than white on these colors? So I'm just making sure to add them with some liquid glue, and then if you want to, you can add some more items. You can add glossy accents, stickles, truly anything is possible, but I'm keeping it with these three end results. I truly had so much fun with this color combination. Again, thank you to Carissa Wiley. Definitely check out her video and more, because she truly has such gorgeous combinations. She's really an inspiration. So yeah, it was tons of fun. It had been a while since I used the Barn Mini Slimline die, and it's always so lovely to use it. So these are my cards today. I hope to be able to inspire you with these, that you also love this combination. I want to thank you all for being here. Truly, your support means the world to me. I wish you all an incredible day, and I'll be back soon with some new crafty inspiration. Bye!